Hey YouTube, what's good? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, but Ryan here with Jonga, back again with hopefully some content for you, especially to talk about the new format and Photon Hypernova, because I am very excited about this. And yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's going crazy, so let's just jump right into it. So the first deck I want to talk about today is Tearlaments moving forward in the new format, and I mean how we can play it and my initial thoughts on the deck. So this is a deck list I took to my locals. We decided to use the new ban list at this local, so it was pretty wild. We had a lot of crazy decks, lots of different people using different cards. You couldn't really tell what you were going to play against. No one's really playing PHHY, so there's a lot of like wasted cards here. But that's just the best part about it, is you just get really quick testing with a bunch of different things pretty quickly. So that was valuable, and it really showed me some crazy things. First, I just want to jump into a quick replay of probably one of the most key interactions you need to think about when you're playing this new PHHY Tearlament deck, because it really just shows, if you need to fuse, you can fuse, like pretty desperately, and that the PHHY cards don't have to just be for like floodgate effects and Arise Heart. They can be used as combo pieces and enablers in a lot of strategies, and especially some more I'm going to show off in the next coming videos that I'm really excited about. Because yeah, it's all about just solving the game and breaking the, I mean, not breaking the game, but doing what we can with the resources that we have left, and hopefully Ancient Fairy doesn't cause many problems, which I think it might, but that's anyway. So the first combo is, say, a 1.5 card combo. It's mainly just with Fenrir. So we usually just grab Fenrir and we grab Tearlaments PHHY from the deck. And so 1.5, so we need to like banish a cash or a tier card. So just in this replay, I've given myself Sulik, and then just pretended my Tearlaments PHHY has milled my grief. Because yeah, when I started doing this, it blew my mind. It's like, wow, we finally have banished trap cards that we can add back off grief. Incredible. And this does come up a lot, especially since we are playing like 4 Tearlament traps now. Because I think this card is just such an important ammunition piece. Because the main thing we're aiming for is we kind of want to mill Rhino Heart more than other tiers. But we'll talk about Matt more in depth soon. But we can overlay our 2 level 7s for Dragossack. And I'm pretty sure people have memed this combo. But, he gives you 2 level 3 tokens, that gives you Cherubini, and Cherubini sends King of the Swamp. He's an Aqua, he can be used for any fusion substitute. He can be a Tearlament Kit Kalos in the graveyard. And then we send Sprind, and then Sprind will send our one head copy of Merle left, so then we can fuse for our Rulu Karos. So, again, this is kind of a bad play. I mean, I think it is a really bad play. It's desperate. You're so desperate to, like, combo and make a fusion that you're just doing this horrible line, but it comes up. Like, of course, you've got 3 other cards in your hand. You've got mills, especially in this combo, like you mill off the Tearlament PHHY, so things can change very quickly. But it's also just important to say, if you mill some fusions early, mill some King of the Swamps early, you get to make a Rule Karos earlier or a Grapha fusion, then you have a line that you can go into to make this. So it's just really important to keep this in mind, and our best friend Dragossack is back to perhaps save the format from bricking. And so, I mean, really, what's going on here? So obviously, I only own at the time of I played this deck, 2 Tearlament PHHY. I would play 3. I think it is pretty insane. Same with Rythoth. I'm not too sure if I'll play 3. I think 2 is fine with the terraforming and the set rotation, because we play Trivia Karma, and if you don't know what Trivia Karma does, you banish it from your graveyard to search any card that includes Visa Starfrost in the name, and so that's a lot of all the Tearlament spells and traps and Pearl Rhino include Visa Starfrost, so Trivia Karma can search everything. It's playing a very heavy engine on Foolish Goods, and pretty much one of each of the Tearlament spells and traps, because you're aiming to mainly like Mill Scream, Mill Sulik, and Mill Rhino, and King of the Swamp now. I'm also playing Beast King of the Swamp because he's the same thing, he just doesn't search poly. Because you don't really want to hit these guys too early anymore. Like, you're searching for Sharon 100% of games, because you can use it for Redoer, and then Redoer is a way you like guarantee a fusion. Havness is usually the one you send off Rhino in like your middleweight combo, and Merle you kind of want to keep in your deck for your sprint line, because as you can see, we only really play one level 2, which is the Merle, and which is kind of wrong. I probably should play at least a Diviner of the Herald, because if I've drawn Merle or it's in the graveyard already and I summon Sprint, I literally can't activate it. I have to put it back in my deck first, which is sometimes doable. You know, if you can have it in your grave, you fuse it for a Kaleido Heart, that can fix that problem. I've opted to try one Arise Heart. So the logic with this is that I really want to play an Arise Heart in my extra deck for when I have to play versus Kashtira, because we can use talents and change of heart and mind control to take control of a Shengi era that's already been activated on that turn, hopefully in their standby phase, and then you can just smack your Arise Heart over it. Obviously, if they have their own Arise Heart that has 3 material under it, they can counter that play, but sometimes they don't have that. And then also in this deck, I found that worst comes to worst, and you really don't want to do that Draco Sack line, you can just go into your own Arise Heart. I found myself ending on boards of like Graphifusion, Redoer, and Arise Heart actually fairly frequently. So would I play that moving forward? I think I would. I think it's really good. Yeah, Beast King of the Swamp is another level 4 Aqua that is a fusion substitute. The real reason why, because you really over rely on King of the Swamp, like milling it, because you really can't make anything of value anymore. Because Kit Colossus is obviously banned, so you need to try and go for like Graphifusion and for Rule Carlos with the name substitution. This one is under benefit of level 4, so if you special summon Sharon earlier, you can overlay that for the Redoer, and then you have the material to make one of the good fusions when you detach off the Redoer, which is really nice. Ishizu cards still haven't really changed. So 3 Rhino. I have heard some people say that Rhino Heart's pretty useless. I disagree. I think it's like you're playing a very bad deck. Like it's pretty bricky in theory. It's nowhere near what it was. Like I'm playing a heavy amount of Tearlaments, spells, and traps just so I can facilitate milling this, and that I can justify summoning it back, because otherwise I'm not sure what you're really trying to do in this deck anymore. Like you're still trying to mill good. You have to just put so many cards in your deck to ensure that you do so, which of turn obviously weakens your matchups all around. You have less room for tech cards. And yeah, I think it's I think it's playable. I don't think it's meta viable by any means, unless you're like really good at this tier deck and you just mill well. And obviously there are optimizations, there are different ways to play it, but I think this is pretty strong standard way to do it. And then we play some shuttles. I missed the fire one, because the fire one is probably really good to play because it gives you more mills. It's similar to like milling an Agido or a Kelbeck, but it usually only mills 2 or 3. That's acceptable. Other than that, not much more to say. Probably the only weird thing would be the Barricade Borg blocker. Barricade Borg is just for the off chance I draw Trifid Karma, because if you draw Trifid Karma, you have no way to discard it out of your hand at all. And also, if you draw one of these guys and you can't share in it out of your hand, sometimes you really just want to pitch it because your deck is awful and you can't play otherwise. I shouldn't say awful. It is really good. It is like so smooth when it works. I'm going to jump into just, have a think of some hands, do some test plays, test hands, and hopefully I can explain, like, yeah, it's not that bad of a deck. It's really not that bad of a deck. I think it is highly playable, and, it really depends on, do people play Bestials or not? Because it's really, I don't think they will, because Kashtira is expected to be so dominant and the format expected to be wide open. Bestials maybe be in the side deck, which again is really important because you might need a main crime, or at least make sure you always side crime, because if one of these gets banished, it's gone forever, and you really need to be able to fix that. And crime is the only way really you can fix that, which is scary, very, very, very scary. And yeah, so let's just jump into some test hands. So we'll just reset this one, have some discussion of the thought process. Well, this hand is really good. Well, any hand with Rhythos and Pearl Rhino is really good. So I think just the way that this deck is kind of sequenced now, I'm going to try to prioritize Sharon in my hand. I think that one gives me the most options. Drawing Melee is not very good, but I'm going to go for the Fenrir, and then Fenrir I'm just going to fetch the Tearlament Kashtira. So we're going for like a mill 6 off the Sharon pitch, the Tearlament Castera, and this is just where it's all luck. I guess you're a lot weaker to Ash because you're really focused on using Sharon effect, super focused on it. So let's just I guess it's only a mill 5, right? Because Tearlament Castera only mills 5. So we mill 3 off our Sharon first, and then we kind of hit pretty good. I mean, anything milling Scream is so important. Like Scream and Meta Noise, really nice. I'm not going to use Meta Noise effect, but we will trigger our Squamata, our Scream, and our Tearlament Castera. So we'll send our Beast. We will search our Sulic. We have double Sulic, but this is really good now. If we mill a Rhino Heart, it's really good. So I'm going to mill 2. And just as I said it, we milled it. So we'll be able to do chain 1 and then chain 2. Again, not the biggest deal. We milled the Meta Noise because we do play a Heartbeat, so we can get it back. And with the field spell up, we can make Collider Heart, and we can pop our own Collider Heart and then send our Heartbeat later on in the turn to, I guess, fix our hand. So just completing the play, we've got Rhino summon back, pitch Sulic, draw a card off our Beast. And then on a new chain, we can mill and we can send, but I'm just trying to think. I don't think the Rhino Heart, because sending the Heaviness of the Rhino Heart now really does nothing. I don't really want to lock myself into Winder just yet. In fact, I didn't mill like that good. But I think the Heaviness is correct because I can put back my Merly in my hand. So off the Sulic I just sent, I'm going to search a Tearlament Castera because we can summon that and then mill 3. So then we can use our Heaviness effect to fuse. So we're going to put back these guys. And then we can summon our Collider Heart. Okay, so now I'm just going to think if we want to use our Pellerano effect. Yes, we do. So we'll use that Pellerano effect to destroy our Collider Heart, which we can summon it back by sending any tier card from our deck to the graveyard. I think in this case we do want the Heartbeat because Meta Noise is going to be really, really, really solid against Cash. We get to counter cards like Castera Theosis, or just in general stop them from banishing our stuff. So we get to add back our Meta Noise by sending our Heartbeat. So we've got a lot of forms of interaction here. I guess it's just really how we feel if we want to try. I mean, we have Poly, so there's no real negative in summoning our Tearlament Castera from our hand. I mean, in theory, because Book of Eclipse and such is going to be heavily played, we can hold that in our hand for our opponent's turn. But I really want to try to hit something I can fuse my Sharon with, which I don't think there's anything I can really do with that. Yeah, I think it is just best to hold that because the more tiers, the more ways we can play around enemy Eclipse, I think is the better. So now this is a pretty solid setup because, you know, these will give us additional fusions on our opponent's turn. If we, you know, resolve our Sulic and our Meta Noise, we've got about 4 to 5 points of interaction, and we have more based on what we mill. We have the Shadows in our grave for our Winder, so I think this is pretty solid, and it wasn't unreasonable. And we also couldn't even get nibbed, but nib wouldn't even be very good for our opponent, even if they did. So he's going to do another test hand just to give some more thoughts. Give it another run through. And this hand is very nice. Drawing Heaviness again is weird. I don't want to like always draw this one. Because if you open the little girls, it really just depends if you're milking the swamp or not. But yeah, this hand is really, really, really nice. I mean, anything with set rotation, anything with Sharon and a mill 5 is going to be really nice. I'm not sure if this is the most accurate representation of the deck, but we'll just see how we go quickly. So we can set rotation. I forget that Dueling Book has a macro for this one. If you pay these on the field, because you can. So we're definitely going to just give them Wraithsoth, and we're going to definitely activate our Polar Rhino and get our Sharon. Because you just got to go big. You just can't expect to be playing rare matches anymore. You just got to go hard. Like even milling your opponent's cash tier deck can even, you know, be pretty brutal. But it does make their birth and such a bit stronger. You have to be worried about that. Set rotation is usually fine because you're just going to kill it with Polar Rhino, hopefully. So we'll play Scream and we'll pitch our Kelbeck for our Sharon. We'll do the initial mill 3 with our Sharon. King of the Swamp is incredible there. Like, this is just going pretty well. So we're going to have a mill 3, a mill 5, and summon back a Rhino. So we will go Rhino PHHY. And then we'll mill 3 from Scream. And then we'll mill 5 from Kelbeck. And yeah, it's really just like no card was ever banned at all. So in terms of our next triggers, we will get our Havness effect to fuse. Hopefully I don't miss any triggers so I can, I think in this case, you really have no reason to not go for Rule Kalos. We get a Heartbeat, add back a Solic. We get a Solic effect to search a monster. We already have the Tearlaments Kashtira, so I'm trying to think, maybe we just load up a Havness for next turn. Again, very important just to put some tears in our hands to play around Eclipse. Other board wipes, in case we can't get rid of our traps. And then we have a Rhino trigger, but I'm just concerned if we don't really have any purpose. Yeah, I don't think there's any real reason here to do that, because sending Merly literally only fuses for Rhino Heart. I think that's pretty weak, because we can just assume we're going to make Collider Heart on our opponent's turn. So in that case, I will opt against that. So we've got both Graveyard Shufflers. But I will use Polar Rhino's effect on Resolution, because we fuse for this one, to destroy our Scream. Because I think I value having both Meta Noise and Solic in this case. And again, this is just fantastic, because we get to go into the Redoer and set both of our traps once again. Again, super important in this new version just to mill Scream. What can I say? Get both the traps. So again, we got so many points of interaction here. It's really nice. Alright, I'll just do one little more, just run through some test hands. I won't play them out entirely, I'll just give it a score, see if it's viable. See, this is one of those weird hands where you might actually have to go into Barricade Borg Blocker to like make things live and go into Dracosack and do that play. If you're going second, in theory, if you're going second, you've got some pretty savage pressure with Polymerization and Kelbeck and Fenrir. But I definitely think in this deck either, you never want to like turn 0 Havness, you never want to turn 0 Tearlament Kashtira, you have no reason to. People are playing Thrusting and Talons, no point, right? Absolutely no point. I said I wouldn't do it, but I just got to see just how it goes, because it's really a test of a deck if you can like draw pretty badly. Like you can kind of see here, like if worse comes to worse, we can just maybe end up Arise Heart and that's it. But I will give it a shot because I'm very curious how this is going to go. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to have to get rid of our friend here, but let me get to mill 3. So hitting a Sullik is incredible. Now the whole turn, the whole turn is different now. It just says we hit a Sullik. Let's just pretend we didn't mill a Sullik. I'm more concerned with like seeing if the mill 5 went through. Because if we resolve the Sullik, we just get to the Sharon and we can pretty much play normally. But I'm just going to have a look at this Dracosack line. Because something we can do with this Dracosack line here with the Barricade Borg is he just needs 2 different names. So we can link him just by a token and a Dracosack. And then we can still make Sprint immediately after this. And so the end phase effect is quite relevant. It will come up. You get to add back a continuous or a field spell from the graveyard in the end phase. So we do Barricade Borg Blocker pitch this, and we'll just go for our mill 5 and see if we hit playable. And I think we do, simply because we hit Tricky Karma and we hit Tearlament Kashtira. So in this case, we'll probably do chain 1 to mill 2, and then we would chain onto that Tricky Karma to such Polar Rhino. If we haven't normal summoned yet, we get to mill 2, get another Sullik and a Beast, yeah. So that's a good example of a hand that is, if I didn't mill the Sullik, considering that, it's still really playable with perhaps like a janky outcome. But, it's still playable. Playable is important. And remember, playable does not equal good. Playable does not equal meta viable. And, maybe it's just a bit cope, but I do really enjoy this deck a lot. And it's really rewarding when it pops off and when it works. It's because you're just working so hard to do, things that were so easy and simple before. Now they're very difficult. Alright, so I think that will conclude my video on new format Tearlament and what I think of it and all my insights into that. Probably a very long video, but that's okay. I just want to make the videos that I really want to put out there because I'm really excited about the new format and I really want to start making videos again. So thank you for watching, everyone. Jonga out, Ryan out, peace out. Catch you next time.